everybody, I'm Stacey Juba, and I'm a fiction author, freelance developmental editor, and the founder of Shortcuts for Writers. I just wanted to talk to you briefly about a survey I did a while back. Some of you who have been following me for several months now may remember this. You may have taken part in it. I sent it out to my email list, posted it in the Shortcuts for Writers Facebook group, and put it out on social media. And I wanted to know what your top frustrations or worries were when it came to editing your book, and what your fears and frustrations were as far as working with editors, and what you would like to see in an online course about editing. And I used all of the feedback that everyone gave me and incorporated that into my new class, Book Editing Blueprint, a step-by-step plan to making your novels publishable. So I just thought it would be interesting to share the results of that survey. And thank you to everyone who participated in it. I really appreciate your helpful feedback. So what are your top 2 frustrations and worries when it comes to editing your book? Number 1 was editors are expensive and I have a budget. How am I going to pull this off? So give me a 1 in the comments if you can relate to that how am I going to pull this off financially? Number 2, I'm leery about trusting someone I don't know to edit my book. Give me a 2 in the comments if this is something that worries you. Number 3 was I'm not a strong enough writer to make my book publishable. Let me know the 3 if that's something that concerns you. And number 4, I want to get published, but the idea of working with an editor and possibly rewriting my book intimidates me. So give me a 4 if you find the whole process intimidating. And I think we can all relate to all of these. At some point in our writing journeys, I think these are worries and frustrations we've all had. And we have a mix of authors of different backgrounds who completed the survey. Almost half have published at least 1 book, but still need to develop their writing and editing skills. 22.9% are experienced authors with several books published. A small percentage, 5.7%, want to write a book but don't know where to start. We've all been there. And I'm writing my first book and I'm not sure how much editing it will need, 25%. Okay, so which 2 aspects of writing and editing challenge you the most? Number 1 was plotting, 2 line editing, 3 characterization, and 4 grammar and punctuation, and number 5 was point of view. So let me know in the comments which of these, what would you say if you were taking this survey? Which 2 aspects of writing and editing challenge you the most? I was actually surprised by point of view because I see, as an editor, I see a lot of manuscripts that have point of view issues. Many beginner authors and intermediate authors have trouble going deep into the point of view. A lot of times they just don't get enough into the character's mind. We don't understand the motivations for their character's actions, and it's not uncommon to have scenes by a newer author where it's not really filtered through anyone's point of view. It's just very generic, and sometimes it's hard to tell, like at the beginning of the chapter, whose point of view the book is in. So that was interesting to me because I think a lot of newer writers don't necessarily know that this is a problem yet until they start working with an editor later. And characterization, this was a big one for me when I was starting out. Editors used to, in their rejection letters, they would tell me that my writing was engaging and my plotting it was good, but that I needed to flesh out my characters more. And I was always like, what does that mean? Because that's all they would say. You need to flesh out your characters more. And I was kind of like, oh, I wish you'd tell me how to do that. So let me know in the comments which of these you find the most challenging. Okay, and then I said I'm creating a program to help writers manage the editing process. What's one thing that absolutely must be included? And I took all of these into account. I think I covered everything when I was writing the content for Book Editing Blueprint. Why we need editing, a magic way to learn grammar and punctuation. Test if you see tests on any of these surveys. Questions, that was me just kind of testing the form before I put it out there to make sure it worked. The difference between editors, so you get the right kind of editor and how to work best with the editor, point of view changes. Checklists are the most common things to look for, like passes and overused words. I actually came out with in the course, I have a very extensive overused words cheat sheet with about 180 overused words to look for in your writing, and I give some training on how to find them and what to do if you do see them. The need for editing, I meet way too many writers who skip that part of the process, and unfortunately that's true in editing. It's very important. If you're self-publishing, you don't want to put a book out on Amazon or another retail site that hasn't been well edited. And if you're submitting books to traditional publishers and to agents, the agent is the gatekeeper here, you want to stand out from the slush pile. So you want to make sure that your manuscript is strong. How to describe action and surroundings. That kind of goes back also to writing passively, filtering things through your character's point of view. Fresh eyes, plot points that move the story forward. I have a section on structure and how to make sure that you have enough plot points in your book. Smooth transitions, catching overused words, character arcs. Check for too many repetitious words and phrases used too close together, too many repetitive words. Description. I have a section on the course on show, don't tell, and writing active description, filtering it through your character's eyes. Grammar and punctuation. Explanation of the timeline for the editing process and what deadlines mean. So because of it's another one, different kinds of editors, what each kind does, where to find them. Because of some of the feedback I was getting from beginning writers who hadn't worked with an editor before, I included a lesson on where to find editors, what each kind does, and what to expect during the process. Recognizing what isn't necessary, point of view, deleting unnecessary words, keeping one's voice. How to know when I'm done. I could tweak and rewrite forever. Let me know in the comments if you can relate to this. I think we can all relate to this. So to make that easier for the writers who take the class, I came up with a extensive book editing blueprint, a very extensive checklist where I kind of go down and recap everything that they learned in the course, and they could just go through each item one by one of everything that they should be looking for and rewriting and revising before they send the manuscript to an editor if they'd like to save time and money on the editing process. And when you get to the end of that list, excuse me, and you've done everything to the best of your ability, that's when you know to stop. So that helps solve the problem if I could tweak and rewrite forever. What to do myself and what to turn over to a professional. Affordable. I mean, editing costs are expensive, so I tried to make the program affordable, and I think it's a really good investment in your writing career, because taking the class and just really learning how to improve your self-editing skills in the long run could save you money on editing fees. It's not going to replace hiring an editor. Hiring an editor is still very important, but I could cut down on some rounds of editing. Most beginner authors need multiple rounds of editing, and many intermediate authors need at least 2 or 3 rounds also. So it can cut down on rounds of editing, and if you're paying an editor by the hour, such as like a copy editor or a line editor, the more you can polish up and clean up your manuscript yourself, then the less hours and they'll need to spend on it. So affordable, it's a big concern for authors. Point of view, how to separate chapters, how to properly handle and punctuate dialogue, internal dialogue. I included a section on that in my unit on dialogue, how to handle internal thoughts. Encouragement. I have a bonus section that I included on how to foil the frustration, and it just has some motivational strategies. But once you get to the end of the course, then you're ready to tackle your rewrite if you've finished your manuscript. I mean, some people who are taking the course might not have finished writing their book yet. They might use the worksheets in it to help them plot out their book, or to just kind of help them as they're writing the book. But once they've completed the manuscript and are facing a rewrite, that's why I incorporated this bonus section on foiling the frustration, and just so you don't feel overwhelmed about the idea of tackling your rewrite. Just have some tips on how to get over that overwhelm. And what is one thing you're feeling especially stumped by? Getting published, prospect of having my book edited, grammar and punctuation. Oh, there's me again, test. I don't know what to expect. What is the best way to help them give me the results I want? And I think a lot of that is the editor can do their best job if you do your best job as a writer. So if you can send them the strongest manuscript possible, then they can do their best job as an editor to help you put it over the edge. Point of view, fitting it all in. Again, that goes back to a bonus unit on motivation and dealing with the overwhelm. Just can't seem to fit it all in, balancing life with my writing time. So that's why I added that bonus unit, just because fitting it all in and time management is a concern for many writers, because for most of us this is just a passion. It's something that we're doing on the side or part-time, and we have other responsibilities, and it's something that a lot of authors are trying to fit into a busy life. Avoiding passive words, conflict and resolutions, I talk a lot about that. Time management, consistent characterization of voice, keeping the plot exciting, that goes into my, that relates to my section on structure, my confidence, writing in the first person. I have a section on point of view that has tips for writing in first and third and how to go deep, pacing, plotting, commas and punctuation. I have an extensive essential line editing section, and I also have a section on copy editing that just meant to give you an overview of the most common copy editing mistakes that I see as an editor, and to help you learn to become more aware of them, to see if you can learn how to improve in some of those areas. Revisions, how editors think, work through a book. That's what the whole class is about. Showing, not telling. Making the story interesting, getting into the groove of writing. Editors want to change structure. I write very simply. That's not what I'm looking for. My last editor made my book reread over sentence structure. So again, you learn how to improve your sentences before it gets to the editor. If your manuscript is as clean and as polished as possible, they'll have less things to change, and they'll be able to give you more of the kind of feedback that you really need and that you're really looking for. Dialogue. So these were all, this was all so useful to me. And again, thank you to everyone who filled out the survey. But these are all aspects that I incorporated into my course, Book Editing Blueprint. So if you would like to learn more about the course, please visit my website, shortcutsforwriters.com. If you scroll down on the home page, there's some screens of the, let me just show it to you quick. There's some screens of the different modules, so you can click on those and they'll tell you exactly what is in each module. And there's also some frequently asked questions. There you go. So a peek inside module 1, you click on that and it tells you exactly what's inside module 1. Okay, and then you can scroll down and you can click on the frequently asked questions, and that'll give you a lot more information. So please tell me in the comments what in this video resonated with you. I mean, if you took the survey, let me know. If you didn't take the survey, what would you have said to some of those questions? What are your biggest frustrations? And if you have any questions about the course, please feel free to message me or send me an email, or just leave your question in the comments. So thank you very much for watching, and let's make editing simple.